Hello everyone, it is Katie here from the Queen of Teen Fiction, and it is that time again. It's Shadowhunters discussion time! So a week ago we had episode 3, which was Dead Man's Party, and just recently we've had episode 4, Raising Hell. So much of me really wants to just jump straight into discussing episode 4 because I loved it so much, but I can't. I've got to go back to episode 3 and discuss that. So we'll leave episode 4 for the time being and discuss Dead Man's Party. If you haven't seen the episodes, obviously there are going to be spoilers, so evacuate the video. So episode 3, Dead Man's Party. We knew this one was going to be about the vampires. Simon had been taken by Raphael at the end of episode 2, and so during episode 3 he is trapped inside Hotel de Mort with Raphael and Camille. And of course Clary and the Shadowhunters have to band together to help free Simon. It's all very stressful for my poor Simon. So I am going to start by saying out of the 4 episodes I have seen so far, I found episode 3 the most disappointing. I don't know why exactly, but I just felt like it didn't really work too well. What I really liked in the episode was the scenes between Alec and Izzy. I liked seeing Clary desperate to help Simon. It just shows the strength of their bond. And the other thing that I really liked is Raphael. We finally got an on-screen portrayal of Raphael, which we've all been waiting so long for. And the actor playing him, David Castro, I think he played him really well. So I was really happy with Raphael. However, I did take a lot more negatives away from this episode. There were a lot of scenes that just didn't work so well for me. Mostly it was the scenes between Camille and Simon. I don't know why, but this whole new ability that the vampires seem to have where they can like stop time, and also they have the ability to control others. Obviously you've seen the episode so that you know Camille compels Simon. I just didn't like watching those scenes, and I thought they were quite uncomfortable. The thing is with Camille, like, I really want to like her, but I think I need to see more of her, because just from that one episode I really didn't enjoy her character that much. So I am keen to see more of her. Moving on to the scene between Isabel and Meliorn. What we've seen of Meliorn so far, I like him. I think he looks perfect. However, the scene between him and Isabel, the sexual scene, didn't feel very sexy to me. It felt like it was trying too hard to be sexy, that it just didn't really work. However, I did like that they were both using each other to get information. I like that relationship between them. So I'm kind of split 50-50 as to whether I like that scene or not. The other scene that didn't really work for me and that I didn't enjoy at all is the scene between Clary Jace and the vampire that owns the motorbike. The way Jace just convinces Clary to be compelled by this vampire so he can steal the motorbike. And the whole interaction between Clary and the vampire just felt really uncomfortable. I just wish there had been another way for them to get the motorbike. However, I am very pleased that they included the motorbike, because that was something else that was missing from the movie. So very happy that the motorbike exists. Just not too happy with the way they acquired it. The thing that I loved most about episode 3 though was the end scene on the roof after they've rescued Simon. I really liked the conversation between Clary and Simon, and then also the conversation between Alec and Jace, because you can clearly see that Clary is starting to put a strain on their relationship, and you can see how tense Alec is over the whole situation. So I was really happy with that scene. Okay, so that's pretty much all I want to talk about with regards to episode 3, just because I didn't think it was the best episode. I want to move on to more positive things, and the more positive thing is definitely episode 4. I loved episode 4 so much. And it wasn't just because of Malik, although it is mostly because of Malik. I just thought the episode overall was a lot better, because after the previous episode I was a little bit worried, and then episode 4 just came in and fixed everything. With regards to how it played out, it did play out very differently from how it does in the books, but I really don't think that mattered at all, just because it was portrayed so perfectly. It's not Magnus's party where they meet him, but it is still at a party. And I like what they did with regards to the ruby necklace. They've brought that into the show as an incentive for Magnus to meet them. So I like the way they adjusted that. Also, we get a little hint as to the origin of the necklace. Hodge mentions that it goes back to 1857. Of course, it is entwined with the Infernal Devices, and so I really enjoy the fact that we're starting to get little references from that in this show. And then Magnus actually mentions Tessa. He informs another warlock to get in touch with Tessa at the Spiral Labyrinth. I loved that so much! We had an actual mention of Tessa Grant great. I screamed a little bit at that point in the episode. I was very, very excited. So we don't need to pretend otherwise. Malik ruled this episode. I just absolutely adored Magnus's every reaction to Alec. When Alec first shoots an arrow into one of Valentine's spies, and Magnus is like, "Who are you?" Yes! This video is just going to go downhill from here because it's literally just going to be fangirling about Malik. I am sorry. And the first time that they're properly introduced to each other is just after Alec essentially helps to save Magnus's life. I'm down for that. I am all for that. Every time they were in the same scene together, I was just so happy because they have the chemistry that I really wanted to see between them. And now I'm really, really looking forward to seeing how their relationship develops just because it's been set up so well. We just need to talk about how desperate Magnus is to attract Alec's attention throughout that whole episode when he's talking about his apartment and how he sometimes prefers it dirty, and Alec's just like... And then the whole Michelangelo thing. Magnus saying that Michelangelo was good in bed and then looking at Alec to see if he's impressed. That was so on point. And the fact that Alec just responds to all of these things with utter confusion. It's so on point. I can't even begin to describe how much I was in love with all of those scenes. The scene where Magnus tells the pretty boy to get the team ready and Jace is stepping forward like he means me and Magnus is like, no! Everything is so perfect. Yeah. Poor Alec goes through a lot in this episode. It's like an emotional roller coaster for him. When they're summoning the memory demon, and the memory demon requires a memory of the person that they love the most as payment, and of course Alex is Jace. He just overreacts in the most Alec way, breaking the circle and ruining everything just because he's so in denial about his love for Jace. My poor Alec. I have to mention as well that I really like the memory demon scene. I know we come across a scene similar to that in City of Lost Souls. It's not a specific memory demon, but they do raise a demon that requires them to give a memory. So it's sort of bringing things from later books forward as a way to kind of change it up. And I thought it made sense. So I wasn't bothered by any of the changes that they made in this episode. Again, as I keep saying, for me it's more down to the characters. And the characters were so perfect in episode 4. I was also really impressed with Clary in this episode because I think she's starting to become more and more like the Clary that we know from the books. When she rescues the little warlock girl, when she ends up killing the demon in order to save Jace. So whilst there were a few issues in the other episodes with her character, I think that it's starting to fall into place a lot more now. Also, I didn't find the relationship between her and Jace as cheesy in this episode. I liked Simon going home as well, and we got to see his mother. We got that scene between him and Maureen, and obviously it's showing that Simon is developing his symptoms of something not being quite right. So I like the way that it's showing Simon's side of things and what he's going through right now. So overall, I just really loved everything that this episode had to offer. The best thing about it was how many direct quotes from the books it included. With regards to Magnus especially, he said some of my favourite quotes in this episode. The whole, "Is he dead? Does he normally just lay there without moving?" That is one of my favourite lines, and I know it's not in City of Bones, it's actually in City of Ashes, and it definitely doesn't play out in that way in the books, but the fact that they included it at all makes me so happy. And the whole Dead Sea quote, Magnus just delivered us some of the best lines, and I'm so happy. While I'm here talking about Magnus, which is one of my favourite things to do, I just have to mention how perfect Harry Shum Jr. is. Just even the way he walks and his mannerisms and everything just screams Magnus. He is so accurate to his character, and I just can't wait to see more of him. Also, can't wait to see more of him and Alec. Yeah, so it has made me so excited. Also in this episode we got to see more of Hodge doing what he does best and explaining everything to everyone. I loved his little history of Magnus's life when they were showing pictures of him through the ages. That was perfect. Every time we see Hodge, I feel so sorry for him with this burning rune. I just want to hug Hodge. I don't think there was anything negative from episode 4 that I can think to talk of. There wasn't anything that I didn't like. But yeah, overall, that's been my favourite episode so far. Just everybody's characters were on point, and Malik has begun. I'm so happy now that the show has clearly established that Alec isn't straight. And obviously we know Magnus isn't. I like that they've mentioned already that Camille used to be his lover, so that it's perfectly clear that he is bisexual. So I like that the show has clearly presented that. And yeah, now we know about Alec just for the people that haven't read the books that might not be so clear on that, because I have seen some things online that made me a little bit uncomfortable with regards to people shipping Alec with Clary. I mean, you know, they've never read the books. If I'd never read the books and I was just watching the TV show, then I think maybe I'd probably think that as well. It's pretty easy to see why people might think it's a love-hate relationship in the making, but obviously for those of us who have read the books, we know that that's definitely not the case. So I'm very glad that now that's been settled in the show. Alec is very much not secretly in love with Clary. He definitely has the hots for his Parabatai, and now Magnus as well. If that wasn't clear by his dorky little smile that appears every time he tries to communicate with Magnus. Can we talk about him stuttering when he first meets Magnus? Alec baby, oh my god. I am so all about seeing shy, awkward Alec in the presence of Magnus, and I am excited to see more of this. This is exactly what I have wanted. So that's all I can think of to say really about episode 4. I mean, technically I could stand here and literally talk about it all day, but obviously I'm not going to do that. The memory card on my camera won't allow me to do that. However, I would love to hear your thoughts and feelings on the past 2 episodes, so please discuss all the things in the comments. Did you enjoy it? Or did it leave you disappointed? Tell me what your favourite scenes were and what are you now excited to see in the future. So I look forward to discussing episodes with you all again in hopefully 2 weeks' time. I'm excited. I am excited for the future of the show. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye!